Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on the YouTube. Dave here, the garage, Area 51, still not on that yet. Bomb truck, hopefully this is the last sort of video on the bomb truck for a little while. Had a little bit of a break last week with the old sign painting business on the skate deck, so if you haven't seen that, jump back one video. Hopefully that's how it all pans out and check that out. Appreciate it. If you're first time here, subscribe, that'd be awesome. Like, share, comment, stuff like that. But yeah, a couple of things we've got to address on the old bomb truck is the other week I did a kind of DIY distributor shim, and it was a kind of a bit of a guess type of thing. Well, kind of measuring when that was involved, but you know, making the shim, I was kind of limited to what I had here in the garage. But I've since bought the proper shims. So they took a while to get here because they only had to come from about 500k away, and they took a good week and a bit to get here, thanks to New Zealand Post. Awesome as usual. And I got a couple of proper gaskets. Also, I got some valve seals. You know, the little O-ringy things and the hats and stuff. I'm not sure what I need yet, but I got both sorts. So we're going to dig into that, see if we can see if it is the valve seals, especially on the number 8 cylinder that, number 7, that seem to be kind of creating that little puff of smoke that I'm getting at certain times on this little mam jammer. It could still be a ring issue. Oil is dirtying up quite a bit, but it could also just be getting, you know, because it was pretty dirty when I got the mystery motor. It could actually just be kind of self-cleaning, so it might just need a bit more of a run, then dump that oil and put some new stuff in and see if it stays cleaner a little longer. But oil's doing what it's supposed to do, I guess. But yeah, so let's get into it. So, if you're new here, this is the bomb truck, 1946 Chevrolet Pickup, New Zealand new, so it's right-hand drive. We did have a 383 in it, which is now in a million pieces spread all over this garage because the whole kind of comedy of errors, it, you know, just it cracked the block and metal went through it and all this kind of stuff. I don't know whether those two things were connected. I actually don't think they were. But anyway, we got a mystery 350, so it was a small block Chev that I bought from a local guy who bought it from another guy. He had the intention of rebuilding it, changed his mind, so I bought it as condition unknown for a really good price, I have to admit, so I can't complain about any of these issues that I'm going through. So, and I've since, you know, rattle can reconned it, put it in the bomb truck, had it running with the 750 Edelbrock carb on it, and it was a little bit overcarb, so I've since got a Marketplace 650 spread bore and put that on, put it off again, re-kitted it, put it back on, and it's on there and it runs and stuff, but we're not getting any response from the idle mixture screws, so I've got a couple of things I need to look at with that. And also we had a weird rattle, which I kind of loosely diagnosed as oil pump bind, because the distributor didn't seem to want to sit down in, you know, kind of right. It seemed like it had to go, you know, there was load on it when you're kind of tightening it down. So we made a shim just out of rubber that stopped the leaks, but hasn't quite stopped the rattle, so I'm not sure if it's still the right sort of size. So I'm going to redo that with the proper shims from Moroso. Strange name. But yeah, these are these little nylon distributor shims that I bought off the interweb. Bought here in New Zealand, but yeah, they were down the line, had to get them shipped up here, and they took ages to get here. Also, we had a little bit of purple smoke blowing out of this left hand side. It's not a crossover exhaust, so I know it's coming from the left hand side. And I went through the plugs a few weeks back, and the number 7 plug was kind of a little bit dirtier and whatnot than the rest. The rest actually will look pretty good, just this one plug. So I'm hoping it is just a valve seal or something like that, you know, something small. So we'll have a look at that. And yeah, so if it's not a valve seal, like I said in the intro part of this video, It could be a ring issue, which, I mean, it's still going alright. I just kind of like on the, you know, the, don't really like the kind of the old truck blowing purple smoke around the place. That just doesn't appeal to me, and the greenies just love that shit. So they lap it up. But yeah, so let's get into it. I'm going to whip the distributor back out, and we'll have a look again at this shimming arrangement on the distributor before I get into the valve seals. Okay, let's do it. Alrighty, so the distributor, funnily enough, was actually sitting at TDC anyway, so that was great. Why does that not want to come out now? There we go. Come on. Oh, got the vacuum line tangled up, one-handed mission. There we go, get that out of there. And pull this out. And put that over there, safely. Here's my little DIY shim / gasket, which seemed to work. You can see compression marks and that on it, so I still had to sort of put some crank down on it to get it to sit tight. So let's have a look at these shimmages. Okay, so did a little bit more accurate measuring down into the pump drive to the shoulder on the manifold, and it's 197 millimeters, which is equals, let's have a look at it in imperial, 7.5 inches roughly. This is not an adjustable collar distributor, so it should be a fairly factory standard set. But so that's to where the inside of the oil pump drive is, like, you know, like that, and this little tang in there sits in like so, and that's where I think the bind is the pressure there. So what I've got to figure out more accurately than a rubber washer is exactly what distance I need and what I need to shim. So just doing a quick measure to the bottom of that tang inside the gear drive, and that is, it seems like a lot, like basically about 6 millimeters, 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch out on this side brings me to this tiny little wee scratch mark there, you see, and so that's basically where the bottom of my tang on the drive is. So 197 from that tang. If I put that there, so it's bang on, so there's like 0 lash in that on it. I need about 5 millimeters of shimmage. That is a lot. That's more than what I had here, where I only need about 1/8, about 3 millimeters. So that seems so bizarre to me. It's like, I'm wondering whether there's something up with that oil pump that's in this, or whether maybe the block has been decked and then the intake has been decked, but that's a hell of a lot. Like 5 millimeters is like almost 1/4 inch, so that's massive. Here's my little mark again, there it is. So we'll just double check that. So if you can see what's going on here, this tiny little mark here, that's about where that pump drive meets it roughly, and my measurement of 197 millimeters to that little tang, that little mark, is that the right mark? Hang on, gotta double check. I didn't really want to be doing this over again in this video, but I thought I'd sort of explain myself a little bit more. Yeah, so that's it there. Yeah, so that's it. Hang on, magnet on the end of this camera stand, so 197 sitting on there, comes up there. Okay, so it's about a 4 millimeter shim. still quite a lot, which still means once I tightened this down, it was putting load on back here, okay? So, and that's what I didn't want. So, these are the Moroso shims. It's 3 different sizes. That's about, I don't know what it is in metric, but it's about 2.5 millimeters. And then we got that, it's probably about a mil, 1.5. And then we've got maybe a mil or half a mil sort of thing. So we'll just measure those up and see what they come out as. And this one here, the biggest of the two, is 2.5. We add the next big one in with it, which will give us 4. If we add all 3, it gives us just under 5 millimeters. If we add gaskets to that, Okay, so I've been thinking about this all wrong. I'm thinking, I got this all backwards in my head, I think. Looking at this, right? This is my little illustration of, you know, the pump drive down the bottom there. And when I measure down from the shoulder on the intake down to the pump drive, it's 197 millimeters, which puts us, you know, right there at the bottom of the pump drive. And then when I hold it up onto the distributor, it's a different story again. It's like, it should be fine without any shims, but when I put the distributor in, it doesn't want to sit down in there properly, which is so strange. The only other thing would be the internal, these parts of the drive, are they coming up and hitting inside the distributor gear thing before it sort of is hitting the little tang inside there. So I've got to do some more measuring and some more figuring, and then I'll be back because I'm not sure. So this is what I'm talking about down here when the distributor's in place. Let's see if I can get here. We've got this big gap here. And I'm pretty sure it's all seated properly, but it's still sitting up proud off the shoulder. So I might get my feeler gauges and measure all that and just double check, and she's all sitting down properly. It's weird, man, real weird. Okay, so I had the wire pinched in there again. That's why I was getting such a big measurement sort of thing between the shoulder and the intake housing stuff. Now we're back down here, and we're kind of, you know, she's sitting down, but she's still not sitting down as such, you know. She's not all the way down, so I think we might still need a shim, but not the 5 millimeters that I was thinking of before. Yeah, it'll probably be kind of closer to this sort of 2.5 mark. But even then, all my measuring, I had it all backwards in my head, like I was. Never mind, you've probably seen in the video, if you've been down this route before, you're probably going, this clown doesn't know what he's doing with a ruler. Yeah, I was measuring because I got 187 millimeters, which is to there, from the intake to the inner of the pump drive. Like this is another pump drive, and that brings me to pretty much the outside of there. So I should have, you know, already plenty of clearance in there. I was looking at it all wrong before, so excuse all of that. I still don't know why how the distributor doesn't want to kind of sit down on the intake properly. It might be the way the gear meshes with the cam. I know there are some people who kind of don't do all this kind of way. They just do some gear paint and stuff like that, and paint the gears and see where they're riding and all that kind of thing. But that's just another whole battle I'm not really sure I'm prepared to undertake at the moment. yeah, so don't know why it doesn't want to sit down properly, but I might still chuck a bit of shimmage in there just to make sure it's got a little bit of clearance and yeah, sitting down on there. I just don't know why it's not sitting down properly, but I don't know. I'm kind of over it. I really want to be sanding this now. I've had enough of this. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so after much deliberating and stuff like that, I ended up just putting a gasket and the middle-sized shim in. When I went on either side, it just didn't feel right, so I put it in and it seems to tighten down without having to kind of get excessive on it like it did with just a gasket. I tried doing taking the rotor cap, the actual rotor out of the distributor, placing it in and feeling for that in play on the cam gear mesh. Couldn't really make much sense of that because, okay, so I don't know whether all HEI distributors are like this. I've never looked that closely at these little bits of movement and stuff in them. Like, it's only when you're having a problem that you kind of really start looking at them and trying to figure out what's normal and not. I'd love to have a known normal one. Could be a known normal one, or get two side by side and do some comparisons now that I've kind of observed a few things just with the float that you get inside the distributor shaft itself. Like I could hold that steady and still get up and down movement at the rotor end sort of thing. So trying to do that check for in play thing off the shaft wasn't working in my mind anyway. Put that back together, wired it up, plugged it in. I'm going to have a look at these valve seals now. I'm not going to fire it just yet because I actually don't want it hot while I muck around with these valve seals. I don't know whether that's the right way to go. I just don't like working on hot engines that much. So, rocker covers off, get the old hot rod hermit out so I can bump it around the place. I've got to get compressor fired up, some air over here, my little tool for holding valves up, and spark plug spanners and things like that. Got a whole bunch of stuff to get organised just to have a look at this. Let's do it. Alrighty, so got this rocker cover off. This is where we keep getting a leak down in this vicinity somewhere, and you can see here, see how that's smooth and the rest of it's all, you know, the normal rough cast sort of thing. It's just strange, don't know. So that, anyway, these two rockers valves are closed as they sit at the moment, so pull the plug, run some air into them, pull the rockers off, and then set about making some kind of tool to assist in the removing of the retainers, because I haven't got a tool to do that, so I actually forgot all about that, thinking, oh yeah, I'll just do the seals and whatnot, and then yeah, I haven't actually got anything to do that with. So yeah, I better figure that out. But I need to get some plug out, get some air into there and see what happens actually. I've been interested to see what kind of leak out comes out of it as well. So we'll get into that, get some compressor going and this doodad in there. Okay, so that's the plug that I just pulled out of there. That's number 7. So that's the one that's all kind of dark and scody. Obviously there's a bit of oil around the threads, but that leaks down there as well, and surely that's not getting into the combustion chamber through the spark plug, eh? Shouldn't be happening. But I've got my air hooked up to this cylinder. Just doing a bit of a kind of leak thing. So let's turn the valve back off again. And I can feel air coming from the exhaust side, so you know, I don't know, that's probably not an oil seal thing, but probably more of a valve seat thing, maybe. Like it's not really seating too well. Could be, you know, just a burnt valve or something like that starting to happen. But we'll have a look at this seal anyway and see what happens. I'll have a look at both the intake and the exhaust on this side and see whether, you know, from there I do the rest, or maybe just do those two and just see what happens. Because if it's not the problem, I don't want to kind of go through and do the whole lot and, you know, waste my time and effort and money on that. So yeah, figure out how to make a device for taking the keepers and that off. So let's get at it. Start with taking these rocker arms off. There you go. What you have to do is kind of make some doohickey that we can lever down onto here to then pull these two little keepers out, and then we can pull the spring and stuff like that out. I'm thinking I might just make something on these lines that I can kind of put the nut back on and lever up on there. I've seen people using old spanners that they've drilled holes and stuff in, but I don't really want to sacrifice a spanner. I want to see if I can do it with making a tool. And hopefully it works. So I need a pin. Got a pin. So I'm thinking if I come, yeah, there. So if I drill a hole about there for the thing, and then make a relief out of there to be able to get the keepers out, and then maybe put a bit more of a fold in about there. Yeah, so we'll have a look. This is just a bit of 40mm 5mm flat bar that I'm gonna commandeer for this particular task. So I want to get a cut through there. Right, drill some holes, do some cutting. Right, punch. These are good. Okay, so this is my plan. Don't know whether it's going to work or not. Just to kind of wind that down onto there and hopefully be able to compress the spring enough that I can pop the keepers out. But I've got to get some air back in here before I do that. I say it top dead center, but I still kind of want to make sure she's all good. Alright, so we'll do a little bit of a time lapse because the compressor will probably kick on. I need my magnet thing, and I just hope the valve doesn't fall down in there. check it out. So this is the valve stem seal that I just took out of that exhaust valve stem. Obviously it's got itself into a little bit of a bind, possibly when it was installed, and it's probably never quite been sealing as such. But which is good, which means I've potentially found a problem. But I dropped a keeper pretty much straight away. First thing I did was drop the keeper, and I cannot find it. I've probably spent a good kind of 20 minutes, half an hour under the truck, going all over the place trying to find that bloody keeper, but I just cannot find it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have got some second-hand LS ones, but I don't have no idea whether they're the same or not. Again, don't think I dropped it in the engine. I had my hand back here and I pulled it into my hand while I was trying to maneuver the magnet, and it fell out of my hand. I didn't even know it had gone until I pulled my hand out and went, where the hell did that little dirty thing go? It's like, I've even looked up my sleeves and shit as well. I'll keep looking, because otherwise I'm in a little bit of a bind actually, without having one to put back in. You know what I'm saying? Not good. Found it. Yeah, boy, there it is. And these little things, they can bounce a fair way. If you remember, I was doing the valve springs on the LS in the Area 51, and I lost two. I found one on the driveway a few weeks later. I never found the other one, so hopefully it's not in the engine, but we'll find out. But yeah, found that one there. Choice. Okay, so I actually bought some of these style as well, these valve seal sets things as well. I actually thought you'd used both, but apparently not. Apparently these are kind of more of an aftermarket-y thing. Having not done these before, I'm not 100% sure. Sort of modern engines and rah-de-rah-de-rah. So I might forego these ones just for now. We'll start with just the old style seal, you know, these little things. This is a new one, and this is my old one. It's all the old ones, all kind of cattywampus and on the piss, you know. So we'll see if I can figure out how to put these back in. I might have to YouTube it. How ironic is that? Okay, so done that one valve stem seal. I didn't do the intake one because I couldn't get it to let go. Every time I tried to put any pressure on it, it just opened the valve, and I didn't want to run the risk of dropping the valve into the cylinder. I'm pretty sure it was this little guy here that was giving me my puffs of smoke. Yeah, so hopefully that's it. We'll give it a... Okay, GoPro just turns off for the... because it wants to. So it hasn't been started in 2 weeks. So yeah, 2 weeks? 3. Shit, might be 3 weeks actually. So yeah, because last weekend I did the skateboards. The weekend before I was actually away for the weekend, and it would be the weekend before that. So yeah, very cold start. We'll see how it goes. Get some pumps. Ooh, no fire. Did I plug everything back in? There we go. Lifter. Okay, so fired up, running smooth. Oh, bloody lifter noise now. When I was kind of resetting the preload on these, the only two that I messed with, every time I got it up to, it's kind of like zero lash sort of thing. Every time I went past a quarter of a turn, it opened the valve. So maybe I wasn't quite on TDC on those two, so I have to take that cover off again and check it again. But yeah, I think the smoke thing might be stopped for now. Well, I haven't let it run. I only let it run for a couple of seconds there, but yeah. Oh, now we've got petrol pissing out of here. Cool. Holly. Might just put my Edelbrock back on it. This Holly's starting to piss me off with its leaks. Check it out. Yeah, it's leaking out of that screw hole there. And I've cranked on that a few times, and I'm really hesitant to kind of crank on it too much more, but yeah. It was that exhaust rocker. I just had the adjustment completely out the window. That's where all that tappet noise was. Still getting a little bit of that rattle we talked about in previous videos. I might pull the other rocker cover and do a kind of running adjustment like I've just done here. And see whether there's a rocker over there that's contributing to that very slight Let's do it. Okay, so just done the rockers with them kind of running at idle. That rattle, that I've been fighting and chasing and whatnot for the last few weeks is still there. It wasn't a tappet or a rocker. It was, I didn't think it was, but you know, doesn't hurt to have a looky-see anyways, you know. So it has this weird, it could even be transmission, who knows. I really I really don't know at this point. It kind of comes in and comes out, goes like that. So I don't know. Anyway, it's probably the 700R pump or something about to grenade itself. But oh well, I'll put this rocket cover back on. That actually seemed alright, but something I did note that the kind of exhaust note changed quite a bit once I got to, like, kind of just got rid of the chatter and then went to, well, over here, just got rid of the kind of exhaust, the tappet chatter, and if I went any more than a quarter to, you know, a third of a turn, it was almost like a valve was hanging sort of thing. So I've kind of kept them all at about a quarter turn. On stock stuff, should be more than that, but I don't know. Maybe I don't have the ear for it, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it won't go kaboom. after all of that, I'm kind of leery of messing around with valves and stuff like that, because I don't know whether I contributed to the demise of the 383. Yeah. Anyway, I'll put this cover back on and we'll see what happened, and then we can run it up and see what the kind of puffing and smoking and that's doing properly. Okay, I think it's just water and exhaust gases. Doesn't taste like coolant, don't think. Doesn't seem to be blue smoke, which is a good thing. Still can't get anything out of the idle mixture screws. They just don't seem to want to do anything, which could be the secondary butterfly adjustment. There's some adjustment underneath. You kind of got to take the carb off to do it. Can do it with a little screwdriver, a little cut down jobby from in situ, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to reach it. I haven't tried yet, so we'll have a look. We've got smoking in here. It looks like maybe a bit of oil burning off the exhaust. Still is a little bit fumy, but I don't know. Might be good enough for the hot rod run. I've got to take it on next weekend. Okay, so apparently on these Holly spread bore, like Rochester replacement carburetors, there's one more adjustment screw underneath them on the underside that you kind of got to set up before you put it on the vehicle, and that's to do with some little kind of cutaway in the secondary thing, and if it's too far open, then it's gonna kind of draw vacuum and suck more fuel into the thing to makes it rich. If they're adjusted wrong, some people adjust them to a certain point, then they drill holes in the butterflies so to lean out the idle mixture. Yeah, I don't know whether I should take it all off again, the carbureting machine, and have a look. Because I mean, it actually idles and runs pretty good. I still think it's a bit rich, and not being able to get any adjustment out of the idle mixture kind of annoys me a bit. And the distributor still needs to be clamped down. So should I take it off? Let me ponder this for a minute. Okay, so what I was rabbiting on about before was this little slit here in the secondary chambers. But what I was expecting to see was that being a bit more exposed. Now this is this sort of stop is adjustable by a little wee tiny sort of screw. I wonder if you can see in there without getting too much. I don't know if you can see inside there. There's a little tiny little flathead grub screw that lives in there, which acts as a stop for the vacuum secondary. So winding that in and out determines where these are going to stop, you see. And I had been doing some Googling and stuff and watched some videos on the interweb about the issue I was having, and it was saying that chances are I was going to have a bit of that little, I can't remember what it's called, there's a name for that particular little gallery sort of cutaway in there. I was expecting to see a little bit more of that exposed. With that being said, I'm not really sure how to set this now, so I might have to do a little bit more information gathering and see whether there's something I can do about it, because I don't really want it sort of idling too rich all the time, or having no adjustment is what kind of gets in my head. I don't like being able to kind of dial it in. Yeah, so don't know, I have to think about it. Okay, so what I was talking about earlier with these transfer slots, these are called transfer slots. See those long skinny slots in there? I was expecting to see them just be able to see them according to all the stuff I've read and on the internet. Now this is not first world experience other than reading, like I've been doing that for a little while, but that kind of what I was expecting to see was a bit of that, and that allows, you know, too much is a bad thing, but a little bit is a thing, better thing. Like they say to see a little square, you know, like about there. That's what I read, and you adjust those by adjusting this little screw in here, which I have just done a little modification to and turned it around so that's now adjustable from the top. So you wide open throttle, and then you can get in there with a screwdriver and adjust it from the top. That way you don't have to keep taking the carburetor on and off and things like that. So I've opened them up just a scotch and closed up the front just a scotch, because they were kind of quite a lot exposed, whereas they should be about 20 thou according to feeler gauges, which is where they're at about now, which is pretty much with the curb idle screw kind of just connecting, if you know what I mean. So I think I'll just put it all back on now and hope for the best. We could be taking it all off and putting the Edelbrock back on yet, but you never know. But I might just put a little dab of like not full on Loctite, blue Loctite on that little mixture screw, because it's quite loose. Yeah, thread locker, not full on Loctite. I still want to be able to get them on and off. I just got to check that this is blue, not red. Yeah, this is blue. So I'll put a wee dab of that on there just to make sure I can adjust them and it's not going to self-adjust, you know what I'm saying? Because it was quite tight getting that screw out, but now that it's been out and in, it's just like finger movements do it, you know? So we'll do that. I'm going to get the throttle wide open. These secondaries wide open. Jam that in there. Now it doesn't want to unscrew. Try that. A little bit more back in. That's about it there, I think, hopefully. Okay, so carbs back on. I spent a bit of time without filming, ended up basically screwing in those, like changing the setting back for those kind of secondary throttle plates, throttle bodies, throttle valves, whatever you want to call them. Kind of pretty much put them back to where they were before, but it was worth a try. When I had them opened up a little bit, it just idled high and I couldn't get it to come back down on the idle mix circuit. It was just sort of staying on the kind of like a secondary circuit or something. I don't know what it's called. I actually did get it to behave a little bit off the mixture screws now. They are pretty much set at like half a turn out from wound right in sort of thing, which is way less than I thought it would be. And they're kind of quite sensitive now to adjustment for some reason. So if I wind them in, it'll stall out. If I wind them out like one full turn, it'll stall out. So the tunability of that kind of component is back. But yeah, I don't really know how I did it, because I'm pretty sure my secondary throttle blades, throttle plates are pretty much back, should be about where they started from at the beginning of this exercise. So once again, another video of not really achieving a hell of a lot, but it's taken me all day to get this far. What's this time now? The time now is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was down here probably at about 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning is when I started the shenanigans. And a lot of that time is dead time, sort of second guessing myself, because, you know, again, trying things I haven't really explored before, hoping for the best, if you know what I mean. I think possibly I have a little bit of success on the blue smokage. It's still a little bit there, but you know, it could be burning off excess, or it could be, again, there could be another valve that's got a bad seal, you know, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just that number 7. So we'll leave it at that for today anyways, and tomorrow I'll go and get some gas for this thing and we'll take it for a bit more of a decent run and see what she goes like. And I've got a TV cable, got to do that. Okay, so before I sign off for the day, I kind of got a little detour and I swapped out the bracket for the TV cable and the accelerator to that one, which was on the 383 when I got it, with the had a 750 double pumper, no, 675 double pumper or something. It was on the 383 when I got it, and I sold that carburetor. Probably should have kept it. And so I thought, well, maybe that's a bit more Holly friendly with the sort of geometry and stuff than this supposedly little adjustable doohickey, but it doesn't adjust where I need it to, unfortunately. It's a bit rinky dink too, to be honest. Like, I'd like that TV cable bracket to come further forward, but it's as far forward as it can be, unless I've got it on upside down or something, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, it's not the greatest. But yeah, so I've got that back on. I think I've got the TV cable about where it needs to be. I need to kind of test drive it now just to see where it's shifting at. Just a quick run up and down the street. I know you're not supposed to run these 700R4s with the wrong adjustment, for, like, they reckon even starting them up with the wrong adjustment can damage them, but you know, I drove it down the street with no trans fluid in it when I first got the truck on the road, or very little fluid in it, and you were wondering why it wouldn't shift into second, or I thought it had a high stall because it was like, and it wasn't going anywhere. So I don't imagine the pump like that very much, but here we are, like 8 years later, it's still in there. So yeah, I haven't changed much in the last 8 years. I still cock everything up. Eventually get it right, hopefully. But yeah, so we're kind of back where we started. I think, like I said, I think that cloudy smoke thing, that one little seal, this little mamma jamma, has made a bit of a difference, I'd like to think. And what else did I do? Oh, kind of put a proper shim in the distributor. yeah, other than that, really a cheap bugger all day, but been at it, but just didn't get much done. So I've got to get this thing dialed tomorrow because I'm supposed to be going on a hot rod run next weekend. So it'll be trial by fire pretty much. Hopefully everything all works like it's supposed to, but we'll find out tomorrow. Take it for a good test run tomorrow. Okay, see you then. Hey guys, so next day, I went down last night and filled up this here fuel jug of some 100 octane gas from this relatively new gas station down the road. The closest gas station to me actually only goes up to 98 octane, and that's a 10% ethanol mix or something, which I've run it in the truck before and it's alright, but yeah, I don't know. This stuff here is, I don't know, it seems to be alright, and well, it was alright in the 383. I started running it not long before the 383 kind of went through its crisis. Anyway, I just kind of checked my fluids and stuff. The water, the coolant is not losing any, so that's good. I had to top off the power steering a little bit. Even at the cold mark it was low. I haven't checked the oil actually, that's what I've got to do next. And I know that's a little bit low, so we'll chuck a little bit more, top that off, and we'll take it for a bit of a run and dial in the TV cable, I think, because I still can't get the adjuster thing to auto adjust properly. It's weird. You're supposed to be able to kind of unclick it, wide open throttle it, and it'll find its own happy place, but yeah, mine just kind of shoots the bloody adjuster thing out the end and it doesn't really work. This can gets quite heavy even though it's getting lighter. Yeah, so this is where we're at. We're going to take it for a run, and hopefully that's the end of this little series on the bomb truck. It was an unexpected interlude from the Area 51 project, and I know some of you guys kind of more interested in that rather than this, gauging by my view numbers on the old YouTube. But in saying that, the watch time hours is pretty good. So you guys that are watching, thanks for that. Just need to get a few more people watching on the regular to kind of get this channel to grow and hopefully not be so awkward. I know this video is kind of going to be, or will have been, all over the place, but it's just tidying up the little stuff. It's not really, you know, like what everyone's used to watching on TV and these big builds that happen in, you know, an hour on television time. These, like I said yesterday, I spent the whole day basically doing 3 little things. It just took me so long to do, you know, and figure out and make decisions on, sort of thing. Especially being a, you know, amateur, like doing a lot of stuff for the first time, I've got to kind of get my head around it and make sure I'm doing the right thing. Whereas once you've done something 10, 20, 30 times, you just get in there and do it, you know what I'm saying. Because you know what to expect and how it's going to work and stuff. You know, like twiddling around with those carburetor things yesterday. You know, the rear butterflies, the secondary butterflies. There's a little bubble on the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, now that I've done it, I kind of know roughly what to expect when I do that on that carburetor. It could be different on another carb, you know, but also, you know, just wanted to have the experience of kind of toiling around with a Holly carb. I've never really done much with them. I've only ever had a couple before, and I've just kind of, you know, bolt them on, twiddle with the mixture screws, and away it's gone, sort of thing. Kind of the same with my Edelbrocks that I've had. The 750 that was on this, I bought brand new, so I don't really have to do anything to it, and that was on a big block Mopar, and then it was on the 383, so it was kind of fairly dialed. It was a little bit overcarb for the big block 383, mind you. I used to have a bit of a kind of that kind of Edelbrock lean sneeze at certain times, but I dropped that down to a 650 Thunder Series carb, and that Fury just loved it. The 383 loved that 650 carb, whereas the 383 in this love the 750. But this goes alright with the 750, but it's just a bit on the rich side, I think, you know. So could rejet it and stuff, as another Mike pointed out in the comments the other week. But I kind of, two reasons I didn't go down that route. One, I wanted to have a play around with this old Holly, you know, just learn some stuff, and that's kind of was my ultimate goal with this. I could have just left the Edelbrock on there, and it actually goes fine with it, just a little on the fat side, you know. And the other reason being is that Edelbrock I know is a good known carb, so I kind of wanted to keep it as my benchmark, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, not mess with it, pull it apart, and run the risk of creating problems with that carb through my own ignorance. But another time, when I've got another good, you know, solid carb and whatnot, we'll want to have a look inside those Edelbrocks and see what makes them tick, just for my own curiosity. I wouldn't mind getting a, you know, a metering rod jet kit type of thing for the Edelbrock stuff, and then I can kind of have a little twiddle around with that. I like the idea of those, that they kind of come off the top and the bowls don't come off the side. You know, just a bit cleaner to work on, I guess. Like if you're working on it in the engine bay, you know, you can take the top off and do some stuff and put it back on, whereas the old Hollies, you've got to take the bowls off and gas kind of goes everywhere, and there's probably ways to circumvent that, but I don't know them. But yeah, so oil, got to check the oil. This stuff. Let's go. Excuse me. Alrighty, so oil was just a touch low on the dipstick at cold. Really nothing significant, maybe sort of, you know, half a litre at the most sort of thing, but it's not really surprising considering how much it has been leaking up until this point, and hopefully I have got some of that dialed in now, you know. There's still a leak down at that other port, what do you even call it, the little port just above the, down here, just down there above the oil filter. I think it's still leaking out of that port just a little bit, and out of the other oil pressure port at the back of the intake, or possibly on the China wall. Actually, it's a bit hard to see exactly where it's coming from. So that's me fluids topped off, and I think we're ready to kind of go for a little bit of a cruise and just see how she be. Yeah, okay. Down the road, make sure the TV cable was where it needs to be. I think it is, and it was running a little bit rougher, so I kind of had another little twiddle on the mixture screws and dialed that, and it smoothed out quite a bit. So do it. Forgot my sunnies. Damn it. You get to see me squinting into the sun, an early morning sun. Needs a good wash. Maybe I'll do that when I get back. Still got that rattle. I don't know what that is. That little sounds something rotating, but I'm stuffed if I know, like without pulling it apart.
roadworks that go on around here, and they don't fix this bit of road. This is heavily trafficked, and it's rooted. They resealed it about 6 months ago, but they just kept it real bumpy and kind of rooted and just put some new black shit on top. See what I'm saying? Temperature sitting on 190. Fuel pressure still on 30. Rattle under the dash. Wouldn't mind getting rid of these gauges now and hooking up my original gauges again now that I know I'm kind of happy with how the temperature's behaving and stuff like that. Hey, everything seems to be going pretty good. It's actually pretty smooth, especially compared to the 383 and the extra bang and all that kind of crap that those things carry. Don't know whether it's my imagination or not, but I think that chatter might be quietening down as it kind of, you know, gets a bit of driving on it. I mean, the temperature hasn't changed, oil pressure's sitting about 25. Wait till we get up to this intersection here. Still there a little bit, but it's not as noticeable, I think. But yeah, it could just be wishful thinking, you never know. Like, I might be going deaf, you know, hopefully. No, I don't want to go deaf. I like music too much. But anyway, carry on. More Mount Maunganui roadworks. Choice, thought I'd go for a cruise up the mount, just see kind of, you know, what she behaves like in a cruising situation. That makes sense, like driving slow in traffic and things like that. Just doing a slow 50 km/h cruise, which is, you know, 30 mile an hour. Temperature's holding, she's quite quiet and smooth until you get to that just off idle thing where you get that clatter, comes back again. It's still there. As much as I wished it to go away, it's not going to go away by itself. Well, it might, you know, it might just be a kind of few heat cycles and it decides it's all good. Just been for a cruise up around the mount. Haven't been up this way for quite a while actually, and quite a few things have changed in the last sort of 6 months or so. And one thing that hasn't changed is there's still plenty of pretentious wankers cruising around the mount on a Sunday morning in their 46 Chevy trucks and on their e-bikes and Ferraris and stuff like that, you know. Lots of athletic wear, so it's always a bonus. But yeah, overall she's going pretty smooth. When I get home I'll see what things are yakking out of it, oil and coolant and stuff like that. I did notice after my little excursion down the street and back this morning that there was a tiny puddle of coolant forming under the front, which we haven't had for a few weeks. So tightened up a couple of the hose clamps and we'll see. As far as oil leaks go, I know there's a couple down the back there that I don't think I'm going to be able to address without taking the intake off. I'm pretty sure it's that China wall that's the biggest one, but we'll see. But they're not major, they're just annoying. Hate's a strong word. I dislike oil leaks, you know what I'm saying? Because they get on hot things and then they smell, and then everything smells fumy and kind of a little rank. But yeah, we're on a detour at the moment, the roadworks, I forgot about that. But yeah, so I think we'll probably just head home now. I'm fairly confident that oil pressure's actually just dropped down to 20 psi now that she's kind of fully warm at this kind of slow down kind of thing. But oil pressure, I'd expect that actually, because the oil will be heating up, thinning out a bit. Idle's a little low, I think. It feels a bit stally when you're coming up to an intersection, so we can certainly address that with a handy dandy screwdriver. I just happen to have one right next to me. I'll do that when I get home though. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Yeah, so cruising back down the old, I don't know what the name of this road is. I always call it Patmar Beach Road, but it's technically not. It's a Sunday morning, lots of bicycles. Yeah, good times, narrow roads, bumpy bicycles. Definitely smells still a bit fumy. I don't know, there's a bit of blow by or something going on, but either that or it's still just all my oil and grubby handprints still burning off, and that might take a few heat cycles to get rid of that. But yeah, I don't know whether it's, you know, oil blow by. I can't see much vapor coming out of the breather and stuff like that, although there is a bit of oil going through the PCV system. Not a lot, but a little bit, so it's not quite normal. And when I take the caps and that off, the breather off, I can't see a lot of chuffing out of there. Well, I can't really see any, to be fair. So I don't know. It could just be motor sat for a while, needs a few good heat cycles just to kind of bring it back around. Don't know how long it sat for. Could be a couple of months, could be a couple of years, who knows? Could be a decade. I don't think it sat that long, maybe a year or two at the most, but that's just a guess. She sounds quite smooth. Anyway, see you at home. Okay, so back home, adjusted the idle, that's good. Oil leaks. I was just having another look. This oil gauge seems to be pumping a bit out the top of it there, so still got it coming out there. But yeah, which is a bit of a nuisance. I wonder if I should just hook up their factory oil pressure gauge now and be done with that other one. For now, I'm going to take them back out again anyways and put the just hook the factory gauges up. I wouldn't mind doing the temp gauge back up again and just get rid of all 3 of those gauges since the tacho didn't work. And yeah, but I'll let it cool off a bit, then I might do that, see if that helps with the oil leakages. And but in the meantime, I might give it a bit of a wash because she's very dirty, as you can see. Lots of grubby marks that I've left behind in the last couple of months of working on this thing, pulling the motor out, putting the new motor in, dialing everything in, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we'll give it a bit of a wash. Treat the old girl, yeah. Look at it, gleaming away there, freshly washed. I even grabbed out some spray wax stuff, just a quick once over. Man, it's covered in overspray. Guilty. So yeah, I've rehooked up the oil pressure gauge to the factory gauge. I'll do the temperature gauge later on when I can be bothered draining coolant and stuff like that and going down that path. Yeah, so there we have it. The old bomb truck's back on the road. It's not great, still has a strange little rattle. It could just be normal small block Chev rattle stuff and I'm overthinking it. I don't really know. Like
it definitely is quieter and smoother than the old 383. So maybe that was masking a whole bunch of other kind of stuff that goes on with a rattly old small block Chev. But it goes pretty good, and it's basically cruising on about 190 on the gauge, on the temperature, so that's good. Oil pressure, I would have liked to have been a little bit higher, but yeah, it's consistent, so that's good. A few more different rattles and squeaks, but again, I can probably hear more stuff now that it's a little bit quieter in the cab, and a little less kind of angry 383, probably on the way to grenading itself type of thing. But yeah, on the whole, pretty happy. Actually managed to spin the tyres. I think it was pushing the front brakes on the driveway there, but I wasn't putting my foot right in it either, so it will spin the tyres if you kind of put some effort into it, a little bit more than I just did. The old 383 didn't take that much effort, to be fair. But yeah, so there she is. There she is. I even gave the dash a bit of a polish as well, because it was covered in dust and stuff. Can't really see in there, but yeah, there we are. It smells like fresh polish. And yeah, like it come up mint. I don't know what happened then, but yeah, there she is. Goes. Well, that's where I'm going to leave this video, and this, hopefully that's it for the old bomb truck on the videos for a little while at least. I want to get back onto the Area 51. I know a heap of you subscribers are here because of that, and a bunch because of the sign writing stuff, but cool, awesome. Like, I like to mix it up. This is kind of the whole point of this channel, was kind of Dave bumbling around in the garage, whether it be painting things or building things or car stuff, just garage life sort of thing. I have got a heap of home DIY stuff to do upstairs, but I don't know whether you guys are kind of be keen on that or not. Probably not. It's kind of, I don't know, again, painting, sanding, that kind of crap. But yeah, I don't know, let us know in the comments. You never know. I won't be offended if you want to just me to stick to kind of more automotive and custom culture stuff. That's cool. Yeah, the old gardening by Dave video didn't go that well. And surprisingly enough, these bomb truck videos haven't. They started off alright, but the views have kind of started dropping as I've been kind of going over and rehashing stuff again and again and again, just trying to dial it in. But I feel like it kind of needs to be sort of documented, so guys like me out there who are doing things for the first time understand that you don't always get it right the first time. Sometimes you do, and that's awesome. And when you don't, I feel like I learn more when I get it wrong. If that makes sense. It's like real easy to just bolt something on a car and it works and it's great and it's good, and that's sometimes what you need. Other times I'm looking to expand my knowledge a little bit. That's why I dove into that shitty little bloody Holly carb and messed around with stuff like that, and if I can document my knowledge expansion, frustration and stuff like that, then that's what this channel is about. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, where was I? I was signing off. That's right. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you want to see some more videos of up and coming stuff, well, bringing back the Area 51 project, trying to figure out how to clear my bench and get some workspace back in here with all the dead engine stuff. I don't know, I've got to get this all that off to the engine builders and see what they say. Yeah, subscribe. Hit the notifications bell if you want to get notified when a new video drops. That's what all the kids are saying. And like, share, comment if you got something to say. If you see something I've done drastically wrong, stop me. Because I don't want to kind of go through this process, grenading another engine because I'm tinkering with things the wrongest way. But if I do, it is what it is. That's garage life when you're learning stuff by yourself. And yeah, so like, share, comment, tell your friends, And till next time, hopefully we're back on the Area 51, and take it easy, and peace. Ta-da! Ta-da! Shiny truck.